Anyway, I am here to talk about, actually what I'm going to tell you are half-baked ideas, because I wrote a book in 4 days. The book is called The Conversity Model and is now a bestseller. And I did so because I practically crowdsourced the whole thing. I thought aloud about what I thought companies should do with social media. And even the logo was crowdsourced, a lot of the ideas in it. So I'm trying to do the same trick because my publisher is obviously pushing me to write my next book. And this is, it'll probably be about something that bothers me a lot. You will probably remember this classic cartoon. It was published in an important newspaper in 1993. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. And you all, no, you're incredibly young. But some of you might remember that when you went online 10 years ago, you just took on a different personality, a different name. And this is now, obviously, it's changing. You cannot hide anymore from what you're doing. For example, cookies, who are obviously very evil, cookies who log everything that you're doing on the internet. We've had them around for a lot of years now. Most of us delete them once in a while, or adjust the settings in their browser so they do not, the cookies don't set on their hard drive. Now, there is such a thing as zombie cookies. They respawn. So every time you delete the cookie, it just recreates itself like a zombie. Those are the cookies that won't die. And even to this day, in 2011, a lot of companies still get sued for installing zombie cookies or flash cookies, as they're sometimes called, on your hard drive. So there is a big market for trying to log what you're doing on the internet. And I can see a lot of the young male students getting very uncomfortable because they recognize the website, of course. This is not about how God knows who, your mom or something like that, might see your browser history and discover that you visit YouPorn. This is about YouPorn itself. YouPorn itself does history sniffing. What YouPorn does, and now you got a reason to be uncomfortable, what YouPorn does is to look at what sites you've been visiting previously before you landed on YouPorn. And they actually have the best of intentions with this, because they want to offer the content to you that is most tailored to your needs. Obviously, YouPorn is not the only one who does this. I see big smiles on some of your faces, slightly disconcerting. A lot of websites to this day do this. So they either place zombie cookies or they sniff your browser history. And why do they do this? This is because most advertisers are lazy. This is a well-known fact. Well, they do not want to investigate what internet users really need, what they really want. Basically, an advertiser has a hard time to try and find out what all these people are doing online and how and when and where they can serve them an ad they would click on. So basically, the logic with advertisers is, okay, so I sell a product to 40-something women who have children and who have a full-time job. And then they will ask another company, do you know which sites attract 40-year-old women with 2 children who have a full-time job? And then they will run the ad over there, regardless of what the real interests of what the internet users are. And this is why there's money to be made with history sniffing and with zombie cookies, and it gets worse. Social CRM. CRM is all about getting to know your customers well and enriching your database about these customers. Now, the big money right now is with companies like Rapleaf, who will use what internet users are publishing about themselves in social media, on Facebook, Twitter, etc., to enrich databases. So they actually sell databases where they link a certain, I don't know, an internet avatar, something on Twitter, an email address, and your actually name, address, and other data. And this is what companies like Rapleaf are based on. And as you know, privacy laws in Europe are a lot tighter than they are in the United States, where Rapleaf is working from. But even in the United States, companies who do this and who sell these data are under a lot of fire. Now, Facebook, obviously, was a matter of time before I had to mention Facebook. Facebook gets a lot of attacks when it comes to privacy. Facebook is often accused of selling personal data to advertisers. They don't do that. They use what they know about everyone to be able to offer more tailored Facebook ads. That's basically what they do. One of the latest accusations to Facebook is that they create ghost profiles. And ghost profiles is Facebook owns the data of all Facebook users, right? So even if you upload a picture to Facebook, it becomes property of Facebook. But what they are also accused of doing is to create a database, link it to your profile, of what you have been liking outside of Facebook. So if you use the social plugin, you like something on, I don't know, a news site, for example, the claim is that Facebook also links this to your personal profile and uses it to tailor ads by their advertisers. They deny the accusations, obviously, but this is interesting because what this means is that Facebook thinks that your real identity is not just your profile, but is also your behavior, is what you like kind of defines who you are. So this is an interesting idea, regardless of whether they actually do it or not. And the most quoted line in my book is this: if you can't see the free lunch, you are the free lunch. And this is what most internet users realize. You get to use services like Facebook's or YouTube for free. Usually, you should be asked for money if you want to upload a video and have it hosted somewhere. But all this is for free. So most internet users, especially the younger generations, are aware of that. This is the deal. This is the deal. I get to use your features, your website, your platform. I get to use it for free. And in return, you can use my data to somehow cater your advertisers. If you don't realize this, if you think it's normal that you can use all these platforms completely for free, then you're probably the free lunch. You are the business model of a lot of these companies. So what would be the solution? You know there's something called a Robinson list in Belgium over here? You can have your name put on that list, and from that moment on, theoretically, you're not allowed to get any unsolicited mail or spam, for that matter. Now, the solution for this particular problem of the fact that even your behavior online is indirectly being sold to advertisers could be in some kind of a central database where you say, I do not want to be tracked. It's not enough to disable cookies on your computer. There should be more. There should be some kind of a status that you have as an internet user, some kind of a flag that you're waving that says, do not follow me, do not follow me. I just want to be able to navigate throughout the internet, even visit YouPorn if I want to, without being traced, not because I'm a bit, I don't like being traced or something like that. I really don't mind. It's just that I do not like to be defined by my behavior online. So this is one half-baked idea I'm throwing at you. I got a few more. Talking about Facebook, obviously, is one of the it's not the first big platform, but it's one of the really big platforms that forced you to use your real first name, your real last name. Before that, if you looked at Second Life, for example, or Netlog, I think only LinkedIn asked for your first name and your last name, and that was a logic thing to ask for, because LinkedIn was all about your professional identity. We don't have nicknames in our professional lives, so this was a logical thing to do. And then along came Facebook in a time, 5 years ago, when everyone was still using nicknames. They forced us to use our first name and our last name. This is another thing that Facebook is often attacked for. You probably recognize this guy. He was in Egypt during the uprisings. His real name is Wael Ghonim. He works for Google. And he is said to be one of the leaders of the revolution in Egypt. And as you know, this revolution was organized through social platforms like Facebook. And he famously used a Facebook group to mobilize people with the known result. Now, he didn't do this under his own Facebook profile. He used El-Shahid, which means something like the martyr in Arab. And this was against Facebook's rules, as you may know, to use a pseudo to define your identity. But he says it's a good thing in these dangerous times. If you live in a country like Egypt in this particular time, it's really dangerous to mobilize people to protest against the government under your own name. So he has a very valid point. He's not alone. If you look at Moot, his real name is Christopher something, who runs 4chan, also probably, if I look at the audience, well-known website, 4chan. He says, we need to be able to have different identities. We have the right to have a pseudonym, to carry an avatar, because we need this space to experiment, especially when we're young or when we are the leaders of a revolution. It's an interesting thought. Twitter is a little hybrid. I picked these two guys, not only because they're all-round good eggs, but also because according to Cloud, the reputation system, for Twitter and other platforms, these two were the two most influential Belgian internet users. And to me, they represent this typical hybrid identity model of Twitter, because all the big players on the internet is trying to become the #1 identity provider. So Facebook is a big player in that field. They want to claim your identity online. And Twitter is somewhere in between. If you look at Twitter, you can see that if you ignore the celebrities, there are two big groups of users. The first one are the media professionals, and they use their real name. And Robin, who works for TechCrunch, is a good example of that. Then the other side on Twitter are the geeks, who've been around on Twitter since the very first day, and they still enjoy it, to exchange know-how, to inspire each other, to solve each other's problems. And typically for geeks is that on Twitter, they still carry their old nicknames. For me, that's a big problem, because I work in a media company. I'm also kind of a geek. So I now have a very geeky name on Beanox, and I've had sleepless nights, literally, for the past 3 months, because I'm in doubt whether I should change it to Clo Willaerts and not just Beanox, because it's becoming a little awkward to talk to audience and say, follow me, I am Beanox on Twitter, and then everyone goes like, why aren't you Clo Willaerts? So please advise me, should I remain Beanox on the internet or carry my own true name? Google Plus, obviously, has this bit of a mixed bag when it comes to identity. They started off, just like Facebook, to enforce real names. Because, like I hope I've tried to demonstrate that's where the big money is. This is, if you use your real name online, other companies can make money by trying to enrich data about your person and then indirectly sell it to advertisers. Now, Google Plus is a bit of a mixed bag because they started off by enforcing real names and then kind of changed their minds because there was a lot of protests to say, okay, it's okay as long as you use a persistent pseudonym. This is a bit difficult, but especially for artists, this is interesting. Some people are more known under their artist name, like Lady Gaga, for example, who is also a user of Google+, and she doesn't want to put a real name on there. So Google kind of, complied with the needs of the users. And Britney Spears is, by the way, if you don't count Sergey Brin, who's like, he's one of the founders of Google, so obviously he is the #1 Google+ user. But the #2 Google+ user is Britney Spears. You didn't know that, did you? What does she do? She's very, very active on Google+, and she posts, well, it's not her, of course, but she posts a lot of pictures. And this has to do with her reputation, because if you look at Google Images, and I was not logged into Google when I did this, so it was not influenced by my browser history. If you type in Britney Spears, first of all, the images suggestions are Britney Spears album, Britney Spears hot, wallpaper, and Britney Spears no clothes. So this is basically based on what people Google her for, what the reputation is like. Now, if she is about to strike a really big money deal with, I don't know, some kind of a soda brand, like, I don't know, Coca-Cola or something, millions of dollars involved, how important is it to kind of, mold your reputation online into something you like? Because if you look at her, I'm not sure if there's a little, yeah, there is a laser in this thing. I'm not sure if you remember this phase in her life. is when she shaved off all her hair and started acting really crazy, attacking paparazzi with an umbrella, stuff like that. That's very harmful for your brand. This is the kind of picture that makes Coca-Cola go, ugh. And she literally loses tens of millions of dollars because of this. So what is she doing? Why is she using Google Plus and all these other platforms? She is kind of defining a new identity. She's trying to influence what people think about her. And your reputation online, up until Facebook came along, was what Google served up as search result. Your reputation online, for a large part, still is equals your Google search results. But that's not the only problem. If the real problem is not the fact that we're being followed and that all of our browser history is being logged somewhere, the real problem are camera phones. This is a picture from, I think, 2004. Does anyone recognize the woman in this picture? Lindy England, remember her? In Abu Ghraib. What happened there is that a couple of, soldiers who were humiliating and torturing their prisoners, one of the soldiers took pictures of that with his camera phone and simply emailed it to someone back home who published it, and we know the rest of the story. Actually, the American government was very, very annoyed with this. Up until this time, what you had to do is to embed journalists, and then you could control the kind of pictures that were taken. What you see right now, and this is where it started, is that there's not just 5 big publishers or 5 big TV stations. There's like 5 million publishers and 5 million TV stations. Everyone with an iPhone in their pocket could possibly change politics or actually make governments very nervous. And this is when it started. Camera phones are everywhere, and sometimes they're used for good. You might remember the London riots this summer, and a lot of the rioters they used, afterwards the authorities used Facebook's facial recognition software to identify the people who set fire to shops, to cars, and to buildings. And this is a good thing. But on the other hand, if you look at another recent, this is about a month ago, someone posted a video online where you could see that during Occupy Wall Street, that a couple of women who were just looking on were maced by a policeman. They were penned, and then they were maced. And this is a typical YouTube movie. You see a lot of these. What happened is that Anonymous, which, as you know, is a loose group of hackers who remain anonymous, obviously, and who sometimes just pick up a ball from someone and do stuff just because they can. What they did is they identified the policeman who did this. They put up his name, they put up the address of his home, they put up pictures of his children. Because they wanted to punish him. And this is, you feel clearly that this ubiquity, the fact that camera phones are everywhere, is also a danger. You could be filmed and photographed in all kinds of situations, and the only solution, I'm not sure, that's why it's a question mark, is camouflage. There used to be boats in the Second World War. They would paint in crazy black and white patterns so they wouldn't be recognized, just like a zebra has stripes, because it tries to confuse the predator by using this camouflage, these real stripes. Now, the theory is that if you apply makeup like this, your face will not be recognized as a face. And this is, according to me, this is exactly why juggalos, this is subculture, people who are a fan of the Insane Clown Posse. Does that ring a bell? A hip-hop band? The juggalos paint their face like clowns. So they paint their face white, and then they put black patterns on it. Why? Because they tend to create havoc everywhere they go. They drink too much beer, they undress too often, especially the girls who are not always good looking. And I'm pretty sure that they use this facial paint so they cannot be recognized afterwards. So, in fact, they look dumb, but I think they're a lot smarter than it looks. And not everyone is a freak. This is, as someone already pointed out, this is from Kane Ransbotin's Twitter feed. And what he does, he's a self-tracking freak, really. He's trying to lose weight. He's been trying to do so for over a year, fails miserably. But one of the things he does is he takes pictures of all of his food. And when he goes out for a run, his Nike run shoes, posts an update to his blog, to Twitter, Facebook, same thing with his scales. Every time he puts his weight on the scales, he's over 100 kilos. The weight is twittered to all of his followers. Now, there are not a lot of people like Kane. That's a good thing. But I think I think it's a trend. Some people voluntarily share a lot of what they do. This is from my blog, and I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. On the right-hand side, at any given time, you can see where in Belgium I am. And this is not some nifty software, it's just Google Latitude. And basically, everywhere my BlackBerry goes, this is shown on this map. And I've been doing this for years. The reason is, of course, this is exciting. To me, this is exciting. I love NCIS, and what you see them do is to solve crimes and murders just by triangulation. So they hopefully see they can track mobile phones in real time. And actually, there are a number of cases, even in Belgium, where they were able to solve a murder because they know where someone's cell phone was last connected to 3 of these. This is very exciting. But also, I'm not sure, this is Tom Cruise, so this is a screenshot from which movie? Minority Report, that's right, it's the famous mall scene. So can I spoil the movie? Right, for you? You're welcome. So basically, he walks through a mall and he's recognized through his iris. His iris is scanned. And because he is recognized, he is identified through his eyes, all kinds of tailored ads are projected onto him. This is already happening, but it's not our eyes that are used to identify us, it's our gadgets. It's in our pocket, it's our camera phone that is identifying us. And basically what you really need to do is, if you do not want to be followed around, you should get rid of that smartphone in your pocket, because exactly 1 year ago, I could hear the Foursquare CEO say that his big plan was that you do not have to check in when you come somewhere. What you have to do is you walk by Starbucks and then your iPhone goes bzzz, and then when you pick it out, it goes like, "Hi, this is Starbucks. It's been 3 weeks when you've last visited us. Why don't you drink coffee? Well, if you come in right now, you can have your favorite latte, whatever, you know, these crazy Starbucks names for coffee. You can get one for free or get a free mug." So he is already thinking about doing that. So if we do not want to be traced, if we do not want to be betrayed by our gadgets, because gadgets cannot lie, then we just drop them all together, throw them away, put them on eBay, sell them to someone. And this is not going to happen, I think. No one of you is willing to just throw out the iPhone, the BlackBerry, or the Nokia, because having the feeling of being connected to people like you is so important that people are willing to pay the price for this, to be the free lunch. And this is final proof that great minds think alike. The only solution, but like I said, it's only a half-baked thought, is that identity is not something fixed, like it used to be. It's not something that is defined by your behavior. It is something that changes. It is fluid. And this is what I see young people do naturally. They already change identity depending on where they are and who they are with. And this is what I call the set and the settings. What I am trying to find is a way to express your identity just defined by your context. Not by your behavior, or your friends, or your likes, or your cookies, or whatever you like. It's just defined on where you are and who you are with. This is my final thought for today. I know I've run out of time, and you're probably very angry with me. I apologize, but thank you for your time and your attention. Thank you very much.